Let's share some fun Wagie rage stories. I'll go first. Working for big-name local Toyota dealership. Start there as what's called a TXM advisor, Toyota Express Maintenance. If your car needs serviced, you bring it to me, and I relay whatever the technician says your car needs. First few months in, around November, management releases Christmas bonus plan for TXM advisors and regular full-on advisors. Christmas bonus fully depends on what you sell and CSI, customer surveys. $5 every air filter sold, $10 each battery, $10 each alignment, $10 each brake job, $5 for other random services. Supposed to accumulate from mid-November till the end of December. Work my ass off, come in early, stay late to sell as much bullshit snake oil as possible to get a nice healthy bonus. Keep track of all my sales and add up how much my bonus is gonna be at the end of the month. Somewhere around $4,500. Management drags feet and takes fucking forever to come down and actually give everyone their bonus checks. Leave for lunch one day. Come back into the office and office partner tells me, "Hey man, go to manager Anand's office, they released all the bonuses." Fucking ecstatic. Go to office and two other advisors in boss's office getting paid out. "Hey boss. I heard we're all getting paid out." "Oh, yeah Anand, yeah, you didn't qualify." "What?" "Yes, your CSI was 86.9% and you had to be at 88.3% to qualify. We'll talk once your office is cleared, thanks." Gives me shitty look and uncomfortable looks and silence from co-advisors. Go back in office and tell him that I'm not going to accept his response, I earned my money, and that this is unfair, and will go to GM and HR to get this sorted out if I have to. Shrugs shoulders. The GM is the one that signed all the checks and he didn't write one for you.
During mid-2019 I was called into the office because they claimed they overpaid me by about $900. Hey, so HR accidentally offset everyone's pay last night, and some got underpaid, some got overpaid. You unfortunately were one of the advisors that were overpaid, so we're gonna go ahead and just take the overpayment out of your next check in a couple weeks, so go ahead and consider this one a loan. This happened in California. Actually boss, we're not gonna go that way, no refunds, thank you for letting me know, but I don't authorize you to do that. Well, unfortunately Anand, it doesn't work that way. Look up California Labor Code. Find exact labor code that says they can't do shit about it if I don't sign and consent, and they can get fucked. Go to HR on lunch break and tell them that I'm not going to authorize for them to reduce my pay by a single red cent. Well, we apologize for the inconvenience, but that's how we are gonna go about it. Cite exact labor code, I think it's California Labor Code section 227. HR bitch's eyes shoot open from her drowsy gaze. Well, I'll go ahead and send an email to Andy, my direct boss, and he can talk to you. He okay, sounds good, leave office. Andy immediately calls my phone and wants me in his office. Politely tell him to get fucked, there's nothing here HR can do. Inform all other advisors that we're overpaid. I suddenly become HR and management's public enemy number one. I didn't recover all the money they fucked me out of, but at least it was a small victory.
I got fucked out of a very meaningful bonus simply because a handful of my customers were pissy about the coffee in the waiting room being too cold, the kids' room being a mess, and that someone shit on the bathroom floor. These are actual reasons I read from the survey responses. HR couldn't and wouldn't do shit about it because they slapped the label contest onto the bonuses. This happened the next year as well. December of 2019 I got fucked in a very similar fashion, only this time I didn't push for any snake oil or other sales, because I knew what they were going to try to pull.
Same company. Determined there is a major error in the method that could result in the concentration coming out wrong, resulting in misdosing. Discovered how to fix it. Emailed my female boss. Fired that day. Whistleblow. Nothing changed, bros. My woman boss just chose to ignore me. One person died in the clinical trials, who knows if that's why.
Work shitty factory job on swing shift. 8-hour day plus mandatory 4 hours of overtime if someone calls off. Someone on the relief shift calls off. Faggot team leader tells me I have to stay late. Easter Sunday and it's not a paid holiday. Say fuck this, and just go home when my 8 hours is up. Team leader goes nuclear and tries to get me fired. Production supervisor tells him to fuck off. Welcome the next day. Team leader hunts me down and literally yells at me. Play dumb.
Work at warehouse. Place is fucking huge. Get 15-minute break. Includes walking back to the break room. Includes walking back onto the warehouse floor. Headset times you, and if you are 1 minute late it automatically reports you to HR, who then question you about it at your next performance review. I got through 1 performance review, they questioned why I was 1 to 2 minutes late back from my breaks. Got to the next review and they did the same thing. I politely informed them this job wasn't for me and left the meeting. Fuck wages living. I want to be rich, and if not then I'd rather stay poor. I simply refuse to play the game of long-term wage kicking.
Current event for me. Project manager looking for someone to do a report. No one locally wants to do it because it involves a highly regulated facility with annual inspections monitoring Fed money. Basically lots of file reviews and lots of interesting aspects to discuss in the report, not worth the money we're charging for the report. Get call from my supervisor. Hey no one wants to do this report, can you do it? Can I say no? Not really. This is gonna be complicated and we're gonna lose a shit ton, and it's going on my quota. Alright, we'll add another 25% for you. Now start it up. Get it done, make recommendations that are in addition to current federal oversight. Client is pissed there is more shit for them to do before property acquisition transfer. Yup, that's me. Mr. Go-To for a tough project. Even the PM roped me into justifying my recommendations on a conference call with client.
Part-time wages living in supermarket produce section. Monday. Manager is some wog faggot. Comes in one day pissing and moaning about what a shitty job I did the night before. I didn't work the night before, I haven't for months. Tell him I'd rather he just fired me than have to stand there listening to him whinge. He throws a tantrum and starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Store manager likes me because we chat shit in the smoking area. Backs me up. Produce manager gets a warning because customers complained about him. Is told he has to be nicer to me. Quit a few weeks later just in time for Christmas rush. No notice.
Work for a large company, forced to develop an internal solution. While the specs are unknown, the internal customer doesn't want the solution, and the whole team have a crab in the bucket mentality. Question multiple time the situation to our product owner, scrum master, my own manager. My manager leaves. While exiting I have a meeting with my new manager and my old manager. Old manager tells in this meeting that there are complaints about me. Can't give any specifics, can't tell who complained about me. His advice to my new manager is to give me a negative review. New manager pretend to be a bro. No, you won't get a bad review, just deliver good work. Work hard, but decided I want to leave since I can't trust the team anymore. Tell new manager about leaving. Is cool, he tells me. Go for other opportunities in the company, feels like I'm being sabotaged, but can't lay my finger on it. Finally land a job, leaves the team. Manager is pissed and give me a bad review. Serious fuck this clown world. I'm doing fine now, but got some serious trust issues in the working environment.
I worked as a CAD and Revit technician, which was a little over minimum wage, but had a bonus scheme based on your productivity. Drawings and modeling were tracked. I would regularly get plus 50% of my base wage in bonuses and was regularly the high performer for the month. I was then given some bullshit job to fix some surveying drawings that had been outsourced to India. Real tedious stuff. I got the work done, but because the manager had estimated the time taken to be much less than what it actually took, the bonus system calculated a negative bonus figure, and I'm sure no one else would have done it any quicker. I only found this out when I got my payslip, and the negative bonus had been applied, and I effectively got paid less than minimum wage. The boss didn't give a fuck and wouldn't change it, so I quit as soon as I found another job, about 6 weeks later.
My old job tried to deny me my vacation request I had put in 6 months earlier, so the next day I went to PetSmart and bought 4 rats, 1 male and 3 female, and a bunch of rat food, and put them in the ventilation system with all of the food. This was 4 years ago, and I heard from my friend that works there that management still hasn't been able to solve our rat problem at the office the other day.
Take job as operational engineer, pretty low pay. They promise I get a raise after 1 year. I do not get a raise, my car breaks down, and I do not get a car either. I start working maybe 1 hour a day. 3 months later I get my end-year review. Manager says I only score a 5/10 and need to work better harder. Tell him I'm not going to work harder and I want more money. Manager flips out and tells me to go home. Receive letter that I am fired 2 days later. Go on government jibs which are 80% of my paycheck at said firm. 8-month holiday of heavens. Take new job not in it but business. Do nearly fuck all work with the office Stacy's and get paid more. Life is comfy now. Seriously fuck it. Fuck managers.
Me? Work in train maintenance in Germany. Always pretend to respect anyone, and if they tell me their life story I try to look interesting. Everyone literally is okay with me, no hate. Most of time I pretend to know anything about my job. I only do 5 minutes of work and rest of 8 hours in sleeping in one of those trains, letting all the others do the job. No one argues or snitches on me. Literally get the same money as someone who works constant 8 hours keck. Literally gain 30 kilos here. Gonna get a promotion soon. Life is good.
18. Work a job at a third-party Apple tech site. One of the coders emails me a program to my job easier. Training lady sees it, I'm fired on the spot because they think I made it illegally. 22. Take on a new job working 7 different tasks. Underpaid in the industry by 20 to 30k, don't complain needing the money. Start falling asleep uncontrollably between noon. Management thinks I'm partying too hard. Placed on warnings, bad reviews. Etc. Starts getting toxic at work. Put a notice, management asks not to go. Leave anyways. Find out I'm narcoleptic, 2-month break, and I lose 20 pounds and feel amazing after quitting. 24. Looking for a job and boomers don't believe my work experience. Finally find a job in tech again. Bust my ass because I believe. Work to get all on-site tech certifications, do 6 months overtime. Fired for the following: 1 back from lunch 10 mins early, 2 skipped a day. Off on an overtime day, I was sick. 3 the approval from my manager to call off was wrong. HR is laughing with the manager as I'm walked out. Fall into PTSD. Never trust working for others again.
First month at new job and notice a girl on my team that does nothing. She's been there less than a year and was promoted to senior. Months later she is promoted to a higher position in a different department. Months pass and it turns out she did nothing in her new role and her manager, instead of firing her, demotes her to my position. She complains to me every day about fairness, even though it's been over a year and a half and I haven't been promoted once. I go on a PTO break when she is set to get off a performance plan. The day I get back she's not only promoted, but promoted to where she's making more than the position she was demoted from. To this day, I have no idea how. We had multiple managers, and so unless she sucked them all off then that's the only way, because she was a horrible complainer, and no one liked her. I was never promoted once in 2.5 years, so I quit. Fuck that place.
Work in France. Have permanent contract. They can't fire me without giving me money. Job and coworkers are fine, no politics or backstabbing. Feels comfy.
Corona shit happens. In a team of 8 guys. They say we will rotate on who will be at the office and who work from home. I have been at the office for 7 months now, no rotation. They got raises I didn't, plus they no longer pay for my travel, and I still have to do everything that they do from home and everything in the office alone.
Work at Lowe's as cashier. Lead cashier asked if I can clean up carts since we have no one in the lot today. Sure. See coworker of mine, we shoot the shit as he helps me. Assistant manager sees us in the lot, doesn't say anything, just walks by as we work. I go back inside to cover someone's lunch break at the register. Same assistant manager approaches me 15 minutes later, scolds me for not cleaning the entire lot and that she's disappointed in my work ethic. Just continue to reply okay to her until she realized I don't really give a fuck. I say whatever these people want to hear and then go back to doing whatever I want. But my pride. I'd rather get back at this shitty company by stealing than standing up for myself, Dezu.
Managed a retail cannabis operation. Previous owner sold to a new investor. Pocketed cash on the way out. New accountant goes over the books. Discovers loss and blames me. I ask how such a thing would even be possible when I don't have access to the drop safe. Fired.
Work concessions at movie theater. Second week of the job. Catch flu. Call in sick. Oh no, you have to still come in. Sir, I'm throwing up every hour. I don't care, hangs up. I don't bother coming even after I get better. Looking back, was a waste of time after 10 hours of unpaid introduction videos.
Apply to be a pharmacy technician at a grocery store. Get the job. 3 weeks into the job, get schedules as bagger and cashier. Let it slide this one time. They start getting comfy and schedule me as bagger once a week. I tell the manager I didn't apply to be a bagger. She schedules me on Christmas week as a bagger every day because pharmacy was closed. Fucking clocked in and took an 8 hours nap in the break room, clocked out and then never returned. That was my last wage slave cuck job.
After just walking out the door of the last 3 places that fucked me over, no arguing, no negotiation, etc., I just left. I got my current job with a handshake and good conversation with my current boss. He said he liked the fact that I'm not a yes man and will stand up for myself and speak my mind. It's been 5 years and I haven't been fucked out of a single cent yet. The only reason employers fuck you is because they know they can and get away with it.
Start on apprenticeship, get told great career prospects etc. We will train you up into management. Low salary as apprenticeship. Finish apprenticeship, stay on same salary. Every year pay reviews. Sorry Anon, you are getting lowest pay rise in team as, even though you are getting highest percent pay rise, you have very low salary due to apprenticeship wage. 3 years in. 4 years in. 5 years in. Still in same job as apprenticeship with many new responsibilities and expectations. Now no longer doing job I am paid to do, but still paid shitty unlivable wage. Watch whole office slowly get made redundant. Have mental breakdown. Leave due to depression. Miss redundancy payout due to leaving 1 week before redundancy of my team officially announced. Manager conveniently leaves out redundancy prospect as I have breakdown in front of him telling him I can no longer work in the stagnate, Wagie fuckfist. Spend rest of existence trying to claw this time back.
Be 17. Looking for a job, walk into a little Chinese sushi restaurant. Hey, do you have any jobs available? You drive car? Yeah, okay, come back tomorrow. From then on I started my long career of delivery driving for a restaurant whose entire staff can't speak solid English. Shit was run so bad. The managers were a married couple. But while the wife was the cashier, all the husband did was smoke in the kitchen and watch Chinese porn on his phone. Sometimes he would call those lines where cute girls talk to you. The wife would come into the kitchen and yell Chinese words at him. The kitchen walls were caked in grease, dead mosquitoes' hawks were in the water we washed the rice ladles with. The sweet and sour sauce tub was left without a lid under a dank sink. While the cooks were Chinese, the dishwashers were illegal Mexicans. I once spoke in broken Spanish, how much he got paid. It was $100 a week for like 60 hours a week. Despite all this, it was a very amazing job. People tipped more for sushi than for pizza. I would make $100 in untaxed tips for 3 hours on a weekend. Eventually I got the idea to start getting some underlings to cover for the shifts I didn't feel like working. I had about 5 friends that I would manage their shifts, leaving the best ones for me. It was so awesome. One day I was bored and decided to go on strike. While we were getting paid a lot on weekends, weekdays were so bad on occasions. Sometimes I would make $10 for 4 hours of work. I wanted a base hourly wage of $5 on weekdays. She said no, so I got all my friends to stop going, and then she just hired some Asians to replace us. And that was the end. 2 months later, the place shut down for health code violations. Also the wife was pregnant. Last I heard from the chipper Asian delivery driver, the baby came out retarded. Kinda sad. I haven't even went over the PTSD marine waiter, or the 40-year-old delivery driver. Story for another day.
Sales manager. No salesman to manage because industry is dying. Today, car transaction network down again. Put cash only sign in door. Idiot custies don't read signs because they think they are special. Rage at my Wagie ass when I tell them cash only. It's not my fault, but I get blamed by illiterate retards anyway. I fucking hate my life, brez.
Be fresh college graduate. Join revolving door sales job. Get fired after like 2 months. Get Wagie position at grocery store. Finally get motivated to find real work. See upcoming 2-week schedule. Midnight shifts, 4 a.m. shifts all around trash. Land another real corporate gig. Leave on 1-day notice. 2 years later 80k WFH job homeowner. Work from home job is still production based waging. It never ends, bros. Rage at my Wagie ass when I tell them cash only. It's not my fault, but I get blamed by illiterate retards anyway. I fucking hate my life, brez.
Going to repost something I've posted here before. Be me, 21-year-old senior backend software engineer, long story, 150k United States dollars salary. Not engaged in HR corporate culture bullshit, and not too keen on smalltalk with the man children at the office. Follow my father's footsteps, and his father's too, and show up to work every day in suit and tie. No, not a cheap shitty men's warehouse suit, because I respect my profession and believe looking well put together is important. Get told by HR that man children in the office are starting to resent me because the way I look and speak gives off aristocratic and elitist vibes. Disregard this preemptive warning. Eventually get my own small team and deliver first project ahead of schedule with excellent quality. Tell team members who report to me that they can do whatever the fuck they want and come in whenever they want, as long as the work gets done when it needs to be done. Refuse to micromanage my team and put time reports and shit in Jira and other work tracking services. Start working from home regularly and showing up at the office at 12 p.m. whenever I am at the office. Team produces new stuff constantly, productivity is highest in company, and all goes very well. This goes on for months. Rest of company eventually gets supremely jealous at our working conditions that I put in place for my team. King Manchild and other team starts to ignore me, block my pull requests, and badmouths me behind my back to senior management claiming that my code is insecure and terrible. Get pulled into a meeting with HR and senior management putting me on an improvement plan. Constantly smiles when talking to the engineering manager, which pisses him off as I wasn't taking the meeting seriously. Engineering manager starts to think I'm outsourcing code to India because productivity was too high for the amount of time I was spending in the office. Gets let go the next week.
Man, I was born for this thread. Be me 16-year-old kid. Get job at ethnic grocery store. Poor family, this was heaven to me. Paid like $400 in cash a week. Treated worse than human filth. Customers used and abused me, forced me to carry shit for hundreds of meters to their houses. Was constantly attacked by everyone. Family-owned business, whilst being an outsider. Was the hardest working person and the least paid. Worked holidays, weekends, was never shown any gratitude, except for one person. Abused by rude customers. Rich customers would look at me in disgust as I walked their groceries to their cars. I work a super comfy job right now. But I have tons of horror stories from all my jobs.
Working at shitty job. Contract work, so no official paid sick time. Get some kind of stomach bug that's absolutely destroying my insides. Try to call out sick with no pay. Boss starts blowing up my phone saying I can't take off sick. Tell him I'm literally almost shitting my pants. Basically threatens me saying, if I don't come in I'm going to lose my job. Begrudgingly go to work, because if I lose my job I'm fucked. About 15 minutes in racing to the bathroom. My ass is glued to it for like an hour as I spray Agent Orange from the depths of my soul. This continues for like 4 hours of me working for 15 to 20 minutes then racing to the bathroom. Halfway through the day boss catches wind of what I'm doing. Starts slamming on the bathroom door telling me that I can't spend all day in the bathroom. Tell him it's either that or I shit on the floor. He gets audibly angry and leaves in a huff. 2 weeks later when I get my paycheck I realize he fucking didn't pay me for the day I went in. Go to his office and tell him off. He sits there like a smug idiot saying you were here but didn't actually work. Why should I pay you? Told him to go fuck himself and walked out then and there. Later that day he started blowing up my phone begging me to come back because I was the only asshole in the entire floor that actually knew what they were doing. Never work contract work if you can avoid it, but sadly it's almost impossible to do now since out country is so fucking kike that almost every job requires for you to be a contractor before they permanently hire.
Work for moving lending company. Sign up to be delivery driver, wage is 14 per hour. Go to sign wage contract, says 12 per hour for sales associate. Desperate for money, accept job begrudgingly. Backing up 5-ton, woman directing me, directs me right into the back of someone's car. Woman accepts zero responsibility, all on me the driver. Situation is moving up through company, question gets asked. Why was a sales associate driving the truck? Zero repercussions, zero demerits. Manager gets fucked for having sales associate driving truck. Serves her right the cheap fuck, trying to garnish my wage 2 per hour. Some big regional manager is coming in, likely to fire me. Don't show up to work next day, and don't answer phone calls. Drive by few months later, place is out of business.
I was in the NIP for a few years. Pre-Floyd. Mandatory OT on days off. Give you a hard time if you take the OT in cash. Have a bunch of time in the bank. All requests for time off are denied. Mandatory suicide training posted after a bunch of cops off themselves. If you don't complete the training by the due date you receive a command discipline. This means they take vacation days away. Suicide rate is apparently a mystery.
Teach ESL at a small Catholic college. Witness several students get diagnosed with learning disorders and get expelled shortly thereafter, ADA violation, but they are a faith-based institution, so they can do that. Witness an administrator who is on a first-name basis with the Pope groping nuns on a field trip. A student with great English skills, but crippling test anxiety keeps being held back because she gets too nervous to do the bullshit standardized test they need to pass in order to leave the program. After she misses the cutoff by under 5% for a third consecutive semester, I take the initiative and administer a practice test for her in the presence of some other nuns so there are no allegations of monkey business. Test is freely available online. She passes with a 96%, 16% higher than the cutoff. I inform my manager and my manager loses her shit, refers me to the molester administrator. I get called into the office on the first day of the second semester. Anon, we've spoken to you about this pattern of insubordination. You are being suspended from teaching, effective immediately. You will be escorted to your office to clear out your desk. Sign this voluntary resignation form now, make it easy on yourself. Tell them to fuck themselves, I'm not signing shit, and I intend to appeal their decision and possibly retain a lawyer, because this is a clear violation of their academic code. They decide not to contest my appeal and pay out my contract, 8 months, bi-weekly $1,000 checks. I guess this isn't a wage rage story as it has a happy ending, but merely an illustration of how bullshit the Catholic Church and office politics at small schools can be. I was kinda bummed I didn't get to go through the appeal process and play a video of the head priest groping a 16-year-old on the projector in front of all the teachers, but that's the kind of thing that might make me end up dead in a suspicious accident, so maybe it worked out for the best. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.